Hi guys, this is Shahadat. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm again going to review another video lecture by Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudevji. The title of this video is "Why Good People Won't Get Anywhere." That's the heading of the video. And watching the content of the video, I couldn't really agree with the lecture, and I couldn't really see the point of it at the end. So I thought I'll play this video and share my thoughts with you guys about this. Now, before going forward, please note that I'm not against Sadhguru as blindly going against him. There are quite a few things he does, or quite a few things he has said. I appreciate those, but I think he's a human being just like you and me. He has got his flaws, and so when he is giving lecture, sometimes he is saying things that are not really helping others. If you think deeply about what he's saying, then you will find that either he doesn't make sense, he's just talking things that wouldn't make sense to any normal human being, or he's contradicting himself at times, and sometimes he's just giving outright wrong teachings, sharing wrong teachings, wrong lessons with people. So that's why I think obviously we should take the good, whatever the good that he offers, we should take that. And if there is anything that we cannot accept as good, it's a good idea to talk about them, so that that can give him a chance to rectify himself. And at the same time, if anybody got blinded with or got misguided with the wrong teaching, wrong lesson, then they could have a second thought and probably come back to a normal way of life. So let's start the video, and I've got some points noted, but what I'll do is I'll play the video, and along with the video I'll add comments, because otherwise making a comment right at the end becomes quite difficult, because obviously you don't remember everything, right? So let's start the video and take it from there. Sorry.
In this world, good people are suffering more or bad people are suffering more? Good people are always suffering more.
Now, this question, you need to remember, and this is an important point. When we say good people are suffering more, what does that mean? What is the meaning of this word suffering? Is it something like good people are always, for example, somebody who is making a lot of money, but because he's a good person, he is distributing, he's giving his wealth away to poor people, and so his quality of life is not very good. I mean, he lives like a poor person. Even though that living in the state of a poor person, to me, to you, may look like suffering, but is it suffering for that person himself? I don't think so, because if it was suffering, by nature, human beings try to stay away from things that are that we feel as suffering. So, but I think that distinction you need to remember, because further down, I think this idea gets kind of like muddled up quite a bit. So let's continue.
Yes. People who think they are good, they are simply suffering.
That's people who think they are good. In this little lecture, Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudevji kind of like tried to say that good people are people who claim themselves to be good. And by definition, I see that as a logical flaw, because, the question of good or bad, these ideas, these concepts have got deep meaning. And how do we know what is good, what is not good as a human being? How do we know that? So if we use an example, say killing. If I say killing, is it good or bad? Some of you might suddenly or jump into saying that, oh, it's bad. But hang on. Killing an innocent person without any reason, I can understand that is bad. But killing a person who is causing problems for others, say for example, recently in Canada, they had this mass shooter who took a machine gun and went to a school and started shooting and killing kids, students, teachers, and security personnel there. He did that. And then the police officer comes and shots him to death. Now, this police officer killing this shooter, is that bad? Do you think, deep inside, it's not like how other people try to define good or bad. It's just deep inside in your soul, consciousness level. Do you feel that's wrong? I didn't find anybody who finds this scenario to be wrong, because obviously somebody who is killing innocent people indiscriminately, it's a good thing to stop him. And if killing him is the only way of stopping that, so be it. And this police officer who pulled the trigger to shoot this guy, this police officer wouldn't be, in my understanding, and I hope it's in your understanding as well, will not be held accountable for the death of this shooter in this scenario. So killing can be good. Killing can be good or bad depending on the circumstances. So interestingly, we human beings, we have been equipped in our consciousness level, equipped with apparatus to judge, to understand what is good, what is bad. We do lots of things, lots of actions in our daily lives, and there are things that we are doing that are not good. We do them because probably they give us some kind of benefit, but deep inside, as soon as we do them, we immediately realize, no, this is not a good thing to do. Right. So, and due to human limitations, it is impossible for somebody to never make any mistakes in his entire life at all. And making one mistake will bring you down from being good to not good. Right. So we need to be really careful about what we are talking about.
Isn't it so? Please look at this. Now, first of all, how did you become good? He's not okay, she's not okay, he's not okay, he's not okay, he's not okay, she's not okay. Compared to all these people, I'm a good man.
And I totally disagree with this definition, this way of defining as a good person, because you see, if somebody compares himself with others and tries to look himself or tries to consider himself as a good person, there is a massive flaw. This is actually the definition of self-righteous person. The person who believes himself to be self-righteous. That means he himself believes I'm perfect. And this kind of mentality is a negative thing. So immediately anybody who has that becomes a not good person. So based on the definition offered by Jaggi Vasudev Ji, this is not a good person's definition. So when we define a good person in the wrong way, and then we use the good person word further down in the lesson to talk about things, becomes complicated. So please remember that there is a massive problem in this definition of the good person. A person himself can never claim to be good, because as soon as he thinks that I am good, and being human beings, we know that it is impossible for him to know what is in the heart of the next person, the person next to him. I mean, from his outer appearance, you may think he is one, he is this and this person, but in his heart there may be goodness, there may be actions he did in the past, or there may be actions he is going to do in the future, near future, far future, that will overweigh in a big way compared to this good person. So this whole idea of considering yourself as a good person and comparing, by comparing yourself with others is a dumb thing to do, stupid thing to do. And if you do that, we will either call you a stupid, or if you are stupid, then we will also call you self-righteous. And both of these terms are negative. They are not a symbol of a good person.
From where did you get the idea that you're good? Tell me. You have compared yourself with lots of people and you label everybody as bad. And now you feel good.
That's not how a good person defines. If we do good things, we can claim that I have done this good thing, but we can never claim that I am a good person, because deep inside we all know our flaws. We all know the terrible things that we have done in the past. And even in the future, there is no guarantee that we will not do something terrible. So comparing myself with others, becoming or labeling myself as a good person, is just doesn't work.
Somebody who thinks he's very good, in his mind, nobody in the world is okay. The more good you think you are, nobody's okay for you. Is that so?
No, that is not so. Because just think about it. If you come across somebody who thinks he's a good person, immediately you will look at him and you will think, this guy is a little proud, I think. He has got some pride about... And such people who think that way, will always have personality issues. They will have, in their interaction, they will try to teach others or show others that he is good. And immediately, for others, other people will look at him and they will think, this guy is not very good. This guy is a little bit pushy. This guy is a little bit this guy is a little bit that. And that's the other interesting thing. You see, a person can only be labeled or considered as good or bad by others. Based on what we do, others can call us good or bad. But then again, it is not... when somebody speaks to you and says you are a good man, doesn't mean that they are confirming that you are eternally a good man. What they're saying is, you probably have done one good thing that they have seen, and they are just recognizing that. They are praising you for that one thing. It doesn't mean that they will not change their mind about you in the future. And it doesn't mean that they actually know everything that you have done in your past. So the way we call somebody good is based on a specific small... we basically use a small time frame to call this. And why do we do that? We call people good. We usually try not to call people bad, because then we start fighting. But we try to call people or tell people that they're good in our sight, is because we want to encourage them to continue doing good work that is good for him, good for others. So Guruji's definition here, I just cannot relate to any real person, and hopefully you can understand why.
Isn't it so? People who believe they are very good people, nobody wants to go anywhere near them because they're so good. No life can happen.
Is it so? I mean, goodness doesn't mean you have to stop living your life. I don't know what he has got in his mind, Jaggi Vasudevji. He seems to, from the way he is delivering the lecture and the way people are reacting to it, from that, what I can gather is he is saying things like a good person will probably not have sexual relationships randomly. Okay, so you might say that nothing is happening in that part. So if abstaining from the bad things, how is that bad in any sense? Now, this person may not do that, but he can have a wife, partner, and have a meaningful relationship there, and can do the things that are that probably what he's alluding to. People do it with random strangers, which has got downsides, which has got lots of different kind of consequences. He is probably doing it with somebody who he has chosen to be his partner for life. So it's not life is not happening. Life is happening, but life is happening in a orderly way.
Your goodness is only in comparison with something else, isn't it?
No.
Yes. And you establishing yourself as good and making if all these people are totally wretched people, then I'm a really good man, isn't it?
No, then you are a proud idiot. If that's how somebody thinks, then that person is a proud idiot, and immediately he is not really a good person.
Good people won't get anywhere, either in this world or another world.
Now that's a bold statement. I mean, good people won't get anywhere either in this world or in the other world. And now, why do I complain about this particular statement? I can't complain about it because good people, when we say good people won't get anywhere, what does that tell you? That tells you that probably you shouldn't try to be good. Is that really good? I mean, as human beings, because good is a state. It's a perfect state. And for human beings, it is impossible to be that. Because we always have flaws. So it is impossible to be that. But we can always try to be better than the person we were yesterday. Right? So a person who is trying to be better than what he was yesterday, trying to suppress all his negative qualities and trying to do good to others, to himself, to his family. He's constantly trying to do good. Looking at that sort of a person, we would say that he's a good person. And when we say that good people won't get anywhere, it actually kind of like discourages us to try to follow their path, try to be good, even though try to do good things. Because we can only try to be good. We will never get there. So when he makes a statement like that, you, being somebody who's not deeply thinking, suddenly you'll just go by, so no point of trying to be good, no point of really appreciating somebody who's trying to do good things. It's problematic, isn't it?
You take a joke. Do you have good digestion? Huh? I'm not talking about that digestion. One day, in his previous life,
there is the story starts. I personally don't like introducing stories to convey any message, especially message of this sort of weight. It's a really heavy message. Now, why do I say that? Because, you see, in these stories, there are some assumptions. We don't define the terms clearly. We don't define the environment of the story clearly. And everybody will assume things in their mind, in their own way, and then go with the story, and then end up with the wrong understanding. So let's listen to the story, and then I'll tell you why I thought this story is flawed in a few different ways. Well, it's a joke, I understand, but this joke is not only a joke. This joke is used to convey a deep meaning, deep lesson. So this is not only a joke, it's a joke with quite a bit of weight attached to it. So we have to look at it exactly in the same way. It's a heavy joke. So let's listen to the joke.
Shankar Pillai was a good man. After a brief illness, he died. Being a good man, he naturally went to heaven. He landed up at heaven, there at the reception committee of angels, opened his account book. Page after page, good deed, good deed, good deed, good deed, good deed. Cover to cover, only good deed. Then the angels were in confusion. Then they came to Shankar Pillai and said, Mr. Pillai, there's a little problem here.
Now, I had to pause here. This understanding, this idea that he has done all good things, and now the angels were confused. Did you really get why? I mean, why would angels get confused? If we think about a heaven, the way it's defined, heaven where after death, Shankaran Pillai went there, and there are angels. We understand what angels are, right? So we understand the term heaven, we understand the term angel, and then immediately we are attaching a condition, a limitation to these angels. In the story, you will see that the story goes like, the angels didn't have a place for somebody who has done good work throughout his life. Now, doing good work throughout his life for a human being is not possible. That's one thing. But even if, for the sake of this argument, this story, even if we accept that, how would you look at a heaven that doesn't cater for the possibility that somebody has done good work throughout his life? Sounds like nonsense, right? Heaven should have all these facilities. And even if there is not, even if for the sake of this story, even if there is not, what stopped the angels to come up with a new place? Or just put Shankaran Pillai in the best place available? I don't see any problem. But this concept of heaven definitely has that problem. Let's watch.
He asked, what is the problem? He said, the angel said, see, here we have various kinds of accommodation in heaven, various levels of accommodation. One bad deed means highest heaven, see front view. Two bad deeds, next level of accommodation. Three bad deeds, next level of accommodation, like this. But no bad deed, we don't have such a place.
So that's what I was talking about. No bad deed, we haven't got such a place. Why? Why would heaven not have such a place? And what is the problem of placing the person to the best place available?
We really don't know what to do with you. You're the first man to come like this. Shankara Pillai thought, what nonsense. In the world, nobody wanted to come near me because I was such a good man. I live with the hope of getting to heaven, and even here problem. Then the angels had a discussion, and they arrived at a conclusion. They said, don't you worry, Mr. Pillai, we have found a solution. Your body is still intact there. We'll give you 3 hours of life. Just commit one bad deed. We'll put you in the highest heaven. Nothing is lost. Lo, Shankaran Pillai became alive here.
So that's the bit of the problem I was talking about. So that definition of a heaven doesn't make sense to me. I don't know if it makes sense to you, but if you think deeply about it, there could be so many other options. Why would the angels put Shankaran Pillai back or send Shankaran Pillai back? Because of a limitation that they have. Nobody, Shankaran Pillai didn't stop them from making a place in the heaven where for people who do not have any bad deeds. It's not Shankaran Pillai's fault. So why would he have to come back and change it? Why can the angels not do something about it?
He sat there thinking how to commit a bad deed. An hour and a half passed away. See, he's not like you, he has no practice. After an hour and a half, he remembered, in the neighborhood, there is a woman who is well beyond her prime, who's been casting inviting glances at him. He being a good man, he never looked that way. Now he thought, okay, adultery is a bad deed. Because after all, he's going to do whatever he's going to do just to go to heaven. So he went looking for the woman. He went and knocked on her door. She came and opened the door. When she opened the door, Shankaran Pillai said, I want you. Why, Mr. Pillai, just yesterday evening they told me, you're on your deathbed. What is this? He said, it doesn't matter, I want you. He went in. Nature took over, things happened between them. He doesn't want to die in her house. Time is running up, so he told her, I need to go. And he came to the door. The woman came to see him off, and she said, Mr. Pillai, do you know what a good deed you have done for me today? One more good deed.
Now, you'll probably be laughing at this story. I laughed at the story as well, actually. But because when somebody is telling you a story, they actually guide you with them. They don't allow you to think about the circumstances deeply enough. And that's why, one of the reasons that's why I don't like stories. So if you look at this particular scenario, Shankaran Pillai, okay, I accept that he was sent back and he became alive again because his body was there. So now he is trying to commit a bad deed. Now, committing a terrible thing. I mean, there are so many terrible things you can do. But okay, let's just assume, because he was such a good person, he found it absolutely impossible to think of a bad deed. Now, what he remembered is this lady, and then he approached this lady. Now, up until this point, do you think he has done a bad thing? I mean, when I look at it, I see that he has committed a very selfish thing. At this point, because he wants to get to heaven, because he wants to have his his success, he is approaching a lady to commit adultery. So this action of trying to not care about that lady and just caring about his own place in the heaven is a terrible thing. It's not a good thing. So he has committed one bad deed here. And then when he committed the adultery with the lady, he committed the second bad deed. And the third bad deed I can see is when he decided that I cannot be in this lady's place, because to get to his heaven, to secure his future, he has used this lady, and now he's thinking, that's it, I've got my thing, now forget about her. So I can see there are two extra acts of selfishness, and to me, selfishness is not a good thing. That is not a good act. So immediately I see there are three acts that Shankaran Pillai did here. The first one is selfishness, second one is adultery, third one is again selfishness. And then the lady said, okay, you have done a good thing to me. Okay, even if the lady says that, it doesn't change the fact that he actually committed a terrible act. Right? So, but just for argument's sake, just to go with the story, let's give him that. Even if that is a good act, even if that is considered as a good act by the lady, still there are two other terrible acts. So the calculation doesn't end up being only another good deed. It becomes one good deed, probably, and two acts of selfishness, which I cannot call them good. I'm sure you will not be able to call them good either. Anybody acting only for their own benefit, disregarding how that will affect another person, is that good? Okay, let's proceed.
So good people will neither make it here nor there. It's not your goodness which liberates you. Your goodness is only in comparison with somebody else. Your goodness being in comparison with somebody else, it's not about goodness, it's a kind of sickness. It's just like, right now, people are going about like this. They're happy. They don't know what joy is. Their happiness is just that. They have things that other people don't have.
I don't agree. I mean, there may be some people who are happy in that sense, but from my personal experience, what I understand is happiness doesn't come from, I mean, happiness for a short time does sometimes come from when you buy a new car. Yeah, it feels very happy, but within a couple of days, it feels like another car. But when I talk to somebody with a smile and I see a smile back on their face, when I serve somebody in some way, in some capacity, and see that that has benefited them in some way, that gives us a profound feeling of satisfaction. Now, that is good, feeling good. That is feeling good. That is actual happiness. So if you feel that, you are actually not comparing yourself with anybody else. And the people who compare themselves with others to feel happy, they are not really happy if you think about it.
Now let's say you're all very hungry, but my stomach is full. And I feel so happy that nobody has food, but at least I have something to eat. Is this happiness or sickness? Humanity is suffering from the sickness, which is passing off as happiness for most people. Isn't it so?
So that was the last thing about the whole thing. So the lecture. So yeah, I think I've kind of covered the whole thing. Now, some of you might say that in my worldview, it is impossible for a person to be good, to attain the state of perfect good or goodness, perfect goodness. It's impossible. So if that's the case, how or why do I care about this lecture that Sadhguru is giving? Because frankly, he's talking about a group of people that cannot exist in the world. I mean, there is nobody in the world who attained the state of goodness, perfect goodness. So why do I object? Well, there are two reasons. One reason I already mentioned to you, that using the wrong terminology, wrong sentence, wrong logic can discourage others to try to be good, which is a detrimental thing. And the other thing is, if you accept that it is impossible to have good person in this world, and it's pointless for me to talk about this, then it is again pointless for Jaggi Vasudev Ji to use people as an example that doesn't exist. What's the point of his whole lecture? It's basically wasting time, isn't it? That would be my answer, basically, to this question. Yeah, and the most important reason why I thought I need to make this video, response video, or my reaction video, is because I thought from the way the words are used, the way the sentences are used, unless people think really deeply, there is a chance that they might get the wrong message. And as human beings in our lives, we don't really think very deeply all the time. If we like somebody, if we take somebody as somebody who has attained some sort of greatness, sometimes we just listen to them and take whatever they tell us without judging them, without actually verifying if there is any truth in there. And that is a really dangerous thing to do. So that's why I thought if I talk about it, hopefully you guys will be able to think slightly differently and see where see that this lesson actually is not as good quality a lecture as it initially appears to be. You have all right to disagree with me, but I would request you to give your reason of why you disagree. I mean, because I make such videos, and sometimes people just swear at me. I mean, if you are angry, you can swear. I don't mind being sweared at. But the problem is just swearing doesn't help you or me to go forward. You swear at me, I take the swearing, and then I think, okay, so he just didn't understand, or he didn't really have any argument to present against my argument. That's why he's just swearing. Whereas if you can really deeply think about it, and if you can come up with any argument that you think I'm missing, if you think anything, a viewpoint that I haven't seen, please share that with me, because then hopefully I will get to learn something new. So with that, I'll end it here today. I'll hope to see you again, guys. Take care, and subscribe to my channel if you like the content. And yeah, hope to see you again. Take care. Bye-bye.